Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So long time no see. Sorry about that. I just haven't been active on the channel. No great excuses for it. I played a game last night using my Undying Dynasties army that I recently created, using kind of a net list, which has been really fun to play. When I got Undying Dynasties, I wasn't having very much fun because I was using a Necro Guard Death Star build, and it just wasn't fun. And so a buddy of mine turned me onto this list, and I'm having tons of fun playing with this. So anyway, I've been playing a few games with it. I still am not playing it well, but I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm taking it to a tournament this weekend, a team tournament, Memorial Mayhem, up in Williamsburg, Virginia. So I thought I'd go ahead and post a battle report of my last practice game, which is funny because I just played just the stupidest game ever. Just really dumb. But it's 4,500 points. We randomize a scenario. We're playing Capture the Flag. If you see one of my units with a red wound token behind it, that means it's one of the marked units that matters for the scenario. My opponent only has 3 scoring units, so those are easy to figure out. If you see my units with the white die on them, those are the ones that after deployment he nominated for his Ramphadon Riders. So, but before we get to the game, and if you're not interested in my painting stuff, just it's easy enough to skip ahead. What I've been doing lately, instead of doing battle reports and other channel content, I've been engaging a lot with the hobby and just having just a whole lot of fun with it. I play 1 or 2 games a week, usually on a Tuesday night. I've been doing a lot more painting, but I've been painting stuff to give away. If you follow my channel, you've probably seen the Dread Sphinx that I painted up, and I am going to use it this weekend, and I'm going to send it off to a follower of the channel. I randomized it, by the way, and I found one, and it turns out he lives in Australia, so I did have to find one with the most expensive shipping costs. But in addition to doing that, there's a guy in my gaming group that plays Saurian Ancients, and I asked him, I was like, can I paint one of your monsters? I just think it'd be fun. I want to try out some new techniques. And he was like, yeah, of course. So I've been painting this guy up for the last couple months, just on and off whenever I felt like it. And I finally finished it up and gave it to him a couple nights ago. And because I am who I am, I'm not happy enough with it. It was almost easier to give it away because I think there are parts of it I'm really, really super happy with. Matter of fact, I would say this is probably the best model I've painted. But even then, I see parts of it that just really frustrate me. But yeah, I've been working on this bad boy. I put a snake on there and then painted him in a way he actually looks cool close up, but if you just look at him on the table, he doesn't pop enough. It's hard to see him. But I know I've shown this before on my channel, but that was before I finished it. It is now finished and based and back in its rightful home. So that's been a lot of fun. I also grabbed a model, this guy, that he's just, I don't know how much he costs. I remember picking him up at the game store just because it was super cheap, just a few bucks, $2 or $3 I think, and painted him up. I actually swapped out the sword. I had to cut off the sword because I think it's a Reaver Bones, but it's that really soft material, and his sword was floppy. Too many phallic jokes I wanted to make about it, and didn't look very threatening. So I put on, an Empire Greatsword sword on him and painted him up. Didn't actually spend a whole lot of time on him. You can look at him. It's basically a coat, some 1 or 2 shades, a couple highlights, some airbrush on the sword and the shield, and that was it. I don't know if I'm going to keep him to having a Duke on foot in my army, or if I'm going to just give him away to somebody. I haven't decided yet. So anyway, doing stuff like that. I'm also painting up a Saurian Ancients army for a buddy of mine who I think will get into the hobby, but isn't into the hobby aspect of it. So we worked out a deal, and I'm just going to kind of do that. So I've done a lot of stuff with the hobby, just not on the channel. Anyway, to the game. So on my far right flank, he had his Ramphadon Riders that vanguarded up and are as you can see them. And he's got 2 spearbacks there. Now, what this guy did, this is a Saurian Ancient army, but he basically plays Orcs and Goblins, and then just did him in a way that he can play them as Orcs and Goblins, or he can play them as Saurian Ancients. And I think that's a great idea. I see more and more people doing that. Like Dan on the 9th Age forum did his Vermin Swarm army, that it could also be played as an Empire army. And I think it's great, and it's very creative and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, he's got a large unit, I think 12 strong, of some Raptor Riders. Behind him, he's got just a huge unit of Saurus warriors with spears. He's got 3 caimans. Behind him is his battle standard bearer on a Taurosaur, and that's an engine of the gods. I think all game long he just gave a 5-up ward save versus ranged attacks to everything within 6 inches. He's got a Lord level character, his general, on a Alpha Carnosaur, and that's just brutal. On the charges, his general has that flaming spear thing, so he's strength 7 on the charge. The Alpha's strength 7 on the charge with multiple wounds. Just nasty. And then there's a Stygiosaur on the left. So facing him, I've got... It's so funny, I put my Casket of Phatep here behind the hill thinking, haha, nobody can charge it unless they have to get around the hill first because I'm hidden by the hill. And then I put a unit of archers on the hill so somebody could charge the archers and overrun into the casket. I'm telling you, I made like 4 or 5 mistakes, just dumb mistakes. Obviously, archers on the hill, and you see they're marked, so the Ramphrodon riders are just going to charge them and get like hatred and just a boatload of extra attacks, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, another archers to the left. You can see my Necroguard up front. There's a Battle Sphinx, Necroguard behind him, more archers. You can see what I have. That's it. That's a Battle Sphinx, not a Dread Sphinx. It's a Dread Sphinx model, but I'm using it as a Battle Sphinx. Or a Battle Sphincter, as I like to say. So because I haven't been doing battle reports at all lately, I forgot to take pictures. There's so many pictures this game I didn't take. So basically, I moved up more aggressively than my opponent expected on my turn. Nothing of significance happened in magic or shooting. We go to my opponent's turn. He moves, like you can see. And actually, he actually hung back. I think me moving forward kind of threw him off guard. And not that it really matters, but we talked after the game, and I'm like, I don't know why you hung back. You should have come after me. I think his list actually counters my list pretty well. On the right-hand side, because I'm an idiot, his Ramphrodon riders charged by skeletons, of course. I just got obliterated. They overran. Easily took him into the casket, so he just did a wheel. And, yeah, so that's just par for the course. So we go to my turn 2, and I thought I would take a picture this time. So I moved up again, because really what I'm trying to do is just get in a situation where I get a good matchup for me and then hold things up and then countercharge with Necroguard. And so I'm just kind of needing to get my Necroguard out there. This list, I think, the reason I have fun with it is I think even though it's a net list and in some ways it's very powerful, there's just a lot of dumb things you can do to screw it up. And I was trying out every dumb thing I could this game. But what I needed to do is put some archers out front and use them as chaff to take the charge of big strong units, and then if he overruns or whatever, then countercharge with my Necroguard. But you can see I'm kind of leading the way with a Battle Cat and a unit of Necroguard out there. The Battle Sphinx is positioned so that his Raptor Riders can't charge me. He actually tried to charge me in his turn 1 and failed to charge. And I don't know how much I fear that. I'm not worried about him wounding me too much, but he would have a charge, a rank, a banner. You know, there's a real good chance I won't do 3 wounds to him, and he could be crumbling me, and that would be scary. Anyway, my opponent doesn't have a magic phase. He doesn't have a shooting phase of any real significance. So we go straight to combat. And between the skeletons and the Casket of Phatep, I actually kill all. I do 4 wounds total. I might have actually done a wound through shooting turn 1. I think I shot a wound off. I did 3 wounds through 2 rounds of combat. But regardless, he still has a dude left. And the casket is dead. I was hoping he would run far enough to hit my unit of archers instead of going where he did, but there you have it. So we go to Saurian Ancients turn 2, and this is where, in my magic phase, that's when I realized I'd moved my Necroguard up way too close, that my opponent only needed like an 8 or a 9 to get that charge. And if he gets it, not only have I thrown away one of only 4 Necroguard units, but then he can overrun and just tie stuff up, and there's not a whole lot I can do because he gets so much combat res on whatever he charges. So I'm thinking right now, I'm like, well, I think I just threw the game away just because I'm dumb. Of course, he charges one of my catapults with his lone remaining Ramphrodon rider. During shooting, he kills off some Necroguard. I'm not too awful worried about that. And then we go to combat, and yeah, I actually do, I think, a wound to him. He does 2 wounds to me, So he wins by a charge and a wound. I crumble 2, and now I'm down to 1 wound remaining on this catapult. So actually, that's actually worse for me, because what I'd rather do is go ahead and kill the catapult. On my turn, I can shoot at this guy, but instead he gets to sit there protected, kill me on my next turn, and then charge again his next turn. Rinse and repeat. So my Necro Guard swing first. I kill 2 Raptor Riders. I'm not going to complain about bad luck there. I don't know how much. I have 15 attacks with poison and lethal strike, but you know, I think killing, my gut tells me killing 3 is probably what averages would be. I don't know. I'd have to work that out. He easily crumbles the unit, overruns, and hits the flank of the archers. Now, one thing I'd done on my turn is I flew my Hierophant into the Necro Guard unit that's on the right. Now, I have never, ever put him into a Necro unit because those are my combat units. But for some reason, I wanted him a little bit further to the right, and so I put him there. And now, that Necro unit can charge the rear of his unit, but that's going to put my Hierophant into combat. But if I don't do it, he's going to crumble this unit, reform, and just charge my unit anyway. I mean, I guess I could fly my Hierophant out, but it's still just going to cost me another unit of Necro Guard. So at this point, I'm just like, I am the dumbest player that has ever played this game. We go to Saurian Ancients turn 2. I'm sorry, we go to Undying Dynasties turn 3. Now the picture I'm showing you shows what it looked like on my opponent before my opponent's last turn. That's because I forgot to take a picture, but I wanted to show you. If you look on the left, the Battle Sphincter charges the units. He's going to charge a unit of Caimans on my turn. And on the right, my Battle Sphinx is charging the Spearback, and then my Necro unit is charging the other Spearback. So I've put some arrows there so you can see what's going on. During the magic phase, not a whole lot of significance happens. During my shooting phase, nothing really happens. I mean, not a whole lot's going right at this point in the game. None of my magic is working. I'm making dumb choices, not throwing enough dice on the spells that really matter. Shooting just doesn't do anything for me. After combat, both Spearbacks are dead. My Necro Guard on the right, I tried to restrain and just let his Spearback go. He had like 1 wound remaining. I just didn't care about it. But I failed my leadership test, so they had to pursue, and they caught him. Meanwhile, my Battle Sphinx kills the Spearback, and I just reform so that his Saurian warriors and his BSB on the Taurosaur are at least in my front. The Dread Sphinx does a good job against the Caimans, kills them. I don't even think he takes any wounds, and I overrun into his BSB on the Taurosaur. Another reason it was killing me that my Hierophant was in with a Necro Guard is because then I charged with the Necro Guard, and he was more than 12 inches away from my Skeleton Scouts. If I hadn't been in that unit, I could have flown, I could have done whatever to get in range of the Necro Scouts so they could march and get up and redirect that Alpha Carnosaur. But I couldn't. And I was even too far away to cast Dance Macabre. I'm telling you, I'm serious. I'm playing the worst game ever. After combat, yeah, this was a tough call. My Necro go in there and they do 4 wounds, which was very, very helpful. He attacks, I mean, he just obliterates the warriors, of course, or at least he does enough wounds the warriors crumble. My Necro crumble a bit, but not too much, and then he reforms to face me. Now the problem is I don't think my Hierophant took any wounds. I lined it up to where only one of his guys was touching me, so I had 2 attacks from the dude, 2 attacks from the Raptor, and thank goodness out of 4 attacks, none of them wounded. But now he reformed, and now he has 2 guys facing me, so that's 8 attacks, and that's going to be scary. Alright, so we go to Saurian Ancients turn 3. He countercharges my Battle's Cat on the top left with his Alpha Carnosaur. His Stygiosaur charges my Skeleton Scouts. And it looks like nothing charged my Battle Cat. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, so this guy on my turn killed that. See, he's got 1 wound left, but he killed my my catapult and then charged this catapult. This unit is just racking up points left and right back here. So here the counter. Obviously, the Skeleton Scouts are going to die. My battle, I like to call them battle cats. My battle cat, I think, I'm just going to throw all my attacks at his Battle Standard Bearer on the Taurosaur. That Taurosaur gets 2d6 plus 1 impact hits at strength 6. I needed to keep that thing from charging. I think my Battle Cat's going to die no matter what, so I'm just going to try to kill his BSB. And I don't. I think I do like 2 wounds to him is all. These guys actually don't take any wounds, and then they do a wound to the Ramphidon Rider, so finally that unit gets stopped. So I lost a unit of archers, a Casket of Phatep, and a catapult to the Ramphidon Riders, but finally got them off the board. Yeah. After combat, yeah, I mean, this went as planned. I thought I would do more wounds to the BSB, but whatever. I did 2 wounds to him. He has 4 left. And over here, this was huge. So I swing first. I kill some of the guys. So instead of having 2 guys touching my Hierophant, he only has 1 because I killed him enough where he had to pull from both sides. He has 1 guy still gives him 4 attacks into my Hierophant, and he does. Let the suspense go. He does 3 wounds. He does 4 wounds to him, and out of the 4 wounds, then I finally remembered that I have a 6-up regen. I think the Hierophant gives a 6-up regen to himself and to his unit. I've never used it with the unit. It's never occurred to me because they just don't get in combat. But he has a 6-up regen. Say if I roll it and I save 2 of them and I've only taken 2 wounds, Hierophant lives. I don't know if he can last again, but now I've got a magic phase and there's a chance. So Undying Dynasties turn 4. I throw a unit of skeleton archers into the flank of his Raptor Rider unit. My Battle Cat tries to charge his BSB, and he fails the charge. Otherwise, that's really bad. Oh, if you look at the top left, this is really tough for me. If I throw this unit in there, I'm not going to win. Now I'm going to focus on my Casket of Phatep and my shooting on his Stygiosaur, and I'm just hoping maybe I can get lucky and kill that guy, or at least get him down to a wound so that if I don't... The Alpha Carnosaur, I'm not going to kill this turn, but I don't think he's going to wipe my unit out completely this turn, so I'm hoping over 2 rounds of combat that I might be able to kill him. I just need to not get countercharged by the Stygiosaur, or at least get him down to 1 wound, so if he does charge in, at least I can maybe kill him then, blah, blah, blah. It's a risky move. It's not brilliant, but I really didn't have a whole lot of other things for this unit to do. I could have charged a Stygiosaur, had a much better chance of doing some good things here. I just didn't want his Alpha Carnosaur charging my Battle Cat quite yet, not at full strength. So that's me failing the charge. We go to the magic phase, and I didn't take pictures of it, but basically I just had like an 11 dice magic phase. I regrew models in my Necroguard unit that was in combat. I healed a wound on my general, maybe even 2, a wound or 2 off of him, and you know, now I'm safe again, which was nice. So I go to my opponent's turn, and he charges the Taurosaur and his Saurus Warriors into my Battle Cat, which is really scary. 2d6 plus 1 impact hits. I know they're wounded on 6s, but how many do you need? I only have 3 wounds left, and it's not just about doing wounds to kill me. He can pop me through combat res. So he's going to have a charge, a rank or 2, a banner. He has like the war banner in there, I think. He has a lot of static combat res and just a lot of attacks. And any attacks that Saurus Warriors get through, my armor save goes from a 4 up to a 6 up. So he's strength 4 with spears. So yeah, this is kind of scaring me. Now over here, the first round I go in, I do some, I think 2 wounds to his Alpha Carnosaur. He did some wounds to me. He actually failed a little bit. His Stygiosaur charged in again. I don't remember. I mean, I totally out of 2 rounds of combat, I think I did 2 or 3 wounds to his Alpha Carnosaur, and then he just blew up my unit. So, not ideal. Over here, after all said and done, my Hierophant is still alive with 2 wounds remaining, and we kill the Raptor Riders. That was scary, and me making those 6-up regen saves absolutely swung that, because otherwise everything else in the game changes. Alright, so we go to my next turn. forgot to take a picture, but basically my Necroguard that had killed the Spearback a long time ago and then reformed, charged the flank of my opponent's Saurus Warrior unit. After he charged in, what he probably should have done is after the charge, after the combat, he should have reformed into bus formation, but he stayed in horde formation, which gave me a really easy charge. My Necroguard got into the flank of him. He couldn't do any wounds to my Battle Cat. This time, because I was confident I had the combat res on my side, I was throwing my attacks into the Battle Standard Bearer. The BSB is down to 1 wound remaining. The Saurus Warriors were on auto break. I tried to restrain my Necroguard, and they failed it again. So this is what's funny. You can't see this, but basically on my last turn, I took my Hierophant out of all the units because I wanted him within 12 inches of the Necroguard and the Battle Cat so he could try some spells to regrow some wounds. He was perfectly safe as far as I could tell, but because I failed my restrain move, and then because I rolled so stupidly high, I lined those guys up perfectly so his Alpha Carnosaur can charge their flank, will easily crush them, and he can overrun and hit my Hierophant if he rolls a 12. Like, it couldn't have been worse. Like, what the hell? All right, that's okay. So we go to the Saurian's turn, and his Alpha Carnosaur does exactly that. I think his Stygiosaur tries to charge a unit and fails, so he's just kind of sitting out there. We go to combat, and that mother rolls a 12. So, God dang it. Are you kidding me? Okay. So he rolls a 12. My Battle Cat kills the BSB, and then I just pivot so that at least I can charge him on my turn. And now it gets interesting. So we go to, this is turn, I can't even read that, turn 6 on Undying Dynasties. And first of all, I should have been off the table a long time ago. And now I'm like, wow, my opponent only has 2 models left on the whole table. Things are actually looking okay. His Stygiosaur is so far away, he's not going to charge me in his turn. I could just shoot at him, and maybe I get lucky, maybe I don't. Really, the only thing I have to think about is this. So I throw the Necroguard in the flank. My general's going to die no matter what, but it's turn 6. I think I can handle that. The question is, do I offer and or accept a challenge with my Hierophant and just try to win through combat res? The problem is the Hierophant has 3 wounds. He can get 3 overkills, so he can get 6. And I'm starting off, I believe, with 9. So, yeah, I win combat by not by much. So anyway, we go to the magic phase. I throw 4 dice at a spell, and I miscast, and I put 2 wounds on my guy. It was perfect. It was perfect. This guy's going to die anyway. Now, if we go to combat res, here's how I count it up. I've got a charge, 3 points for having a rear charge with at least a rank, 2 for having a flank with at least a rank. I have a standard. I've got, if I issue a challenge with my Hierophant, I have 2 ranks with the Necroguard. After the magic phase, I will. That puts me at static combat res 9. My opponent would have 4 wounds, 1 to kill him and 3 overkill. And what we didn't know was, would he get it? Do you get it for a charge if what you charged is now completely dead? And we just weren't sure. But probably what we're looking at, if not especially, is we're looking at my opponent with only leadership 8 taking a break test, needing a 3. So the smart thing to do is let's just get a challenge, and you'll be on a 3. And even if I'm wrong about the charge, you're on a 4. No reroll. You have cold-blooded, but whatever. But it's been such a fun game. It's not a tournament. I'm like, screw it. Let's not do the challenge, and we'll just fight it out and see what happens. So he just throws 1 attack at my Hierophant and kills him. The rest he throws everywhere else you can see. And I still win combat because I do some wounds to him. He's down to just a couple wounds left. And I beat him. He's down. He needs a 5. And he makes it. Then we crumble. I think what you're looking at here are my units after crumble. These units crumble. These units had no wounds. They both took 4 wounds from the crumble. That was rough. All right, we go to the last turn of the game. Stygiosaur charged. He didn't know if he should go up and just shoot his breath weapon at my catapult and try to get an extra 100 points. because those things are worth 200 points. He already has 100 points there. He decides to charge him in to see what happens, but he only has 1 wound left. He has 1 wound. The Alpha Carnosaur has 2 wounds. We go to combat and kill them both, and the game ends. Oh my gosh, well, that game was the biggest roller coaster. It was such a fun game. I mean, I made just tons of stupid mistakes at the end, but rolling all I needed with the 6-up regen saves on my Hierophant at the turn it mattered absolutely swung things 180 degrees, and everything went in my favor. Actually, I think it ended up being a 12-8 victory. Neither one of us got the scenario objectives because all of the chosen units were destroyed. So, yeah, kind of funny, super fun game. You can look forward to 5 or 6 games with this list in the very near future as I go to the tournament. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.